The Philippine Coast Guard has become a symbol of courage on the world stage. Day after day, they face extreme danger, not in times of declared war, but in a gray zone conflict that has grown more perilous each year. Since early 2023, we've seen countless incidents proving their professionalism, resilience, and bravery. Many now believe this may be the bravest Coast Guard on the planet today. And a single moment involving the BRP Teresa showed the world exactly why. In a shocking escalation, a Chinese vessel attempted to ram a Philippine Coast Guard ship in the West Philippine Sea. But instead of retaliation or retreat, the Philippine Coast Guard stood firm. What happened next was almost unbelievable. The BRP Teresa, one of the 44-meter multi-role response vessels, offered medical support to the very same Chinese ship that had just endangered Filipino lives. It was an act of humanity, professionalism, and moral strength. According to maritime security expert Ray Powell, this scene was not only inspiring but also a reminder of the PCG's discipline under pressure. They didn't respond with anger, they responded with duty. But make no mistake, this was not an isolated clash. It's part of a much bigger and more dangerous game, the Gray Zone War in the South China Sea. For the past 3 years, China has weaponized its paramilitary forces, the so-called wolf in a white hull. China Coast Guard and the maritime militia known as the Little Blue Men. These forces swarm, block, use water cannons, and ram Philippine ships. What's different now is China's military itself. The People's Liberation Army Navy is creeping closer to the front lines. Before, they stayed back at a distance, looming but detached. Now, Beijing is showing a willingness to escalate further, blending law enforcement tactics with military intimidation. This shift signals something dangerous. Beijing is testing limits, calculating how much the Philippines and its allies will tolerate. By letting gray-hulled warships inch closer, China is blurring the line between paramilitary harassment and outright military confrontation. That's what makes the TBRP Teresa actions so extraordinary. In the face of aggression that could have easily spiraled out of control, the Philippine Coast Guard demonstrated restraint and professionalism. They did not escalate the conflict. They did not abandon their mission. They showed the world that courage is not about being the aggressor, it's about standing firm under pressure. The Philippine Coast Guard doesn't just patrol waters, it safeguards national sovereignty, protects Filipino fishermen, and represents the rule of law against overwhelming odds. Consider this. The PCG often sails into missions where they are outnumbered, outgunned, and overshadowed by far larger Chinese ships. Yet time and again, they press forward, not with weapons of war, but with professionalism and a commitment to protect lives. It's no wonder experts like Ray Powell describe them as one of the most courageous maritime forces operating today. But what happens next? The stakes are only getting higher. As China escalates its tactics, the Philippines is strengthening its ties with allies such as the United States, Japan, and Australia. Joint patrols, new ships, and stronger defense cooperation are becoming critical. Yet at the front lines, it will still be the Philippine Coast Guard who faces danger first, standing as guardians in this tense maritime chess game. The South China Sea may be one of the most contested waters on Earth, but the courage of the Philippine Coast Guard shines through the fog of tension. Their actions remind us that true strength is not just about firepower. It's about discipline, humanity, and the will to stand firm even in the face of overwhelming pressure. This is not just a fight for territory. It's a fight for dignity, sovereignty, and peace. What are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Philippine defense and updates. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.